Okay, so here we are with a paper that fills the bill for this. So first thing I want you to notice about this is that it does indeed use secondary sources to great advantage. So if you want to use secondary sources, have at it. Be creative. And there's no reason why you can't bring other sources into the conversation. So your first paper dealt with just you and your responses relative to A Rose for Emily. And now you get to pick your story and you get to pick your point that you want to make about that story. But remember, there are so many different possibilities. Think about controversy. What is especially controversial? Think about your own interest. What are you really interested in? And what would you like to find out more about? What would you like to dig more deeply into? So all of those are good possibilities. This is on that really eerie story by Joyce Carol Oates. Where have you going? Where are you going? Where have you been? And it takes a very firm stand. Notice the thesis by the time we get to the end of the first paragraph. Um, and rather than witnessing an intimidating man luring and threatening a teenage girl, we actually see a dangerous situation symbolic of the rapid maturation of an adolescent female. In other words, the emphasis here is not just on Arnold Friend being an absolute creep of a pervert, which he is, but in this particular student's view, also on those pitfalls that come with maturing rapidly and physically being very mature, but yet emotionally and psychologically being very immature and very, in fact, naive. So the paper deals with that very effectively. Notice that all of the points made tie back to the major point and support that major point very, very well. And notice the integration of the quotations from secondary sources and the use of the MLA parentheticals. Here's a particularly juicy one in the story's title. The present is conspicuously missing, yet this is the only state of mind in existence with which Connie appears to be in touch. Now, there's living in the now, but not anticipating what consequences. We have another story that deals with this phenomenon too, Greasy Lake, right? Um, so this integration of these various literary critics is remarkably done in this paper. You've read the paper, so you know that. Notice also the use of transitions that help tie together the various points, the abundant use of evidence to support the point, um, and the reiteration of the argument. We call this echoing sometimes. There is more to the idea of this story than mere actions of Arnold Friend or Connie herself. And then we get into symbolism is prominent here, tells us how to interpret the story in addition to the literal interpretation. So dig deeply into that subpoint of the symbolism, the religious imagery, which plays into the story, uh, the sexual overtones, and initiation theme. All of these dealing with the symbolic aspects of the story. So you read the paper. I don't want to overextend, a summary of the paper, but notice again how fiercely the student holds to the argument. And does not depart from that. Doesn't just start giving us plot, and there you have the work cited, very capably done. So I'm going to leave it at that, but I thought you might like to get a little commentary on that paper and a little boost of an idea of how you might do your own paper. So here's my suggestion. Run by me some of your ideas and make sure that that's going to work out for you so you can send those to me. Okay, enough said.